Hello, dear viewer. Before we plunge into the deep realms of Psalm 91, we'd greatly appreciate your support. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button, becoming part of our continually expanding fellowship. You're about to commence on a spiritually illuminating adventure, an expedition that leads straight to the core of one of the most esteemed scriptures in the Holy Bible, Psalm 91. This voyage goes beyond mere exploration. It is an intimate connection, a deep comprehension, and a testament of unwavering faith. We will meticulously examine the historical framework of Psalm 91, reveal the wisdom within each potent phrase, and decipher God's grand design for unshakable protection. We will strive to expose the profound and timeless truths hidden in the ancient text. In this journey, we will also contemplate on the applicability of these sacred words in today's dynamic world. We will delve into understanding how these age-old promises can continue to provide counsel, solace, and safeguard in our present-day situations. These age-old words, forged in the past, still hold wisdom and protection that resonate in our contemporary lives. So fasten your spiritual seatbelts, open up the doors of your intellect, and ready your heart for this religious odyssey. Get set to witness the scripture come alive, watching Psalm 91 take a whole new form through the lens of history and modernity. This expedition promises not just knowledge, but also enlightenment that strengthens faith and provides solace in troubled times. So, prepare to engage with the text, to transcend the boundaries of time and space, and to forge a deeper connection with your spirituality. Prepare to immerse yourself in holy waters of divine wisdom and emerge purified and enlightened. Now let's journey together into the heart of Psalm 91. Psalm 91, a gem in the crown of the Psalms, holds a unique place in history. This specific psalm, nestled among the collection of 150 sacred songs, hymns, and prayers that constitute the Book of Psalms in the Bible, has particular historical significance that warrants its unique standing. When we unveil the historical layers of this psalm, it's crucial to remember that these ancient scriptures are not solely religious or spiritual. In fact, they are intricately interwoven into the socio-political environment of the time they were composed. Historically, the Psalms were deeply rooted in the societal context, reflecting the zeitgeist of the era. With this in mind, we discover that Psalm 91 is like a time capsule, offering us a glimpse into a bygone era. The authorship of Psalm 91 is, however, a contentious topic sparking much debate among scholars of theology and biblical history. There is no agreement on who might have penned this psalm. Some scholars propose that the author could be Moses, the thematic similarity between Psalm 91 and the book of Deuteronomy, which is traditionally attributed to him. Alternatively, others postulate that it was composed by David, who is renowned for being a prolific psalmist. His experiences as a shepherd, warrior, and king are echoed in many of the Psalms. However, the ambiguity around the authorship Psalm 91 stems from its lack of a superscription, a common feature found in many Psalms that attribute them to a specific author. Despite the uncertainty surrounding its authorship, it's generally agreed that Psalm 91 was likely crafted during a tumultuous period. The Israelites, the primary audience of these Psalms, frequently grappled with threats from neighboring nations, their faith put to the test in the crucible of these conflicts and confrontations. In this context of volatility and danger, Psalm 91 emerges like a ray of hope, offering a divine promise of protection and refuge. The Psalm's original audience, the Israelites, particularly those steadfast in their covenant with God, would have found solace and comfort in its words. This psalm could serve as a reminder of God's unwavering faithfulness and protection in times of grave danger. The presentation of this psalm might have varied from communal recitation during worship to a whispered prayer in solitary moments of reflection. Deciphering the historical events that influenced the creation of Psalm 91 is a complex task. If we subscribe to the theory of Mosaic authorship, then the psalm might have been composed during the wilderness wanderings, a perilous and uncertain period for the Israelites. If the psalm was written by David, it might be a reflection of personal experiences of danger, perhaps from King Saul's relentless pursuit or from the numerous battles he waged. Despite the ambiguity surrounding its origins, one fact is clear: Psalm 91 appeals to a universal human sentiment, the yearning for safety and security in a world teeming with danger and unpredictability. The psalmist assures the faithful that God is a reliable haven, an impregnable fortress in times of distress. Understanding the historical context of Psalm 91 requires us to delve into the era it emanated from, to comprehend the trials and tribulations its primary audience faced, and to consider the historical events that may have shaped its creation. All of these factors contribute to a more vibrant and nuanced understanding of its message. But it's vital to remember that the Psalms, including Psalm 91, are not just historical records. They are songs of faith, encapsulating the deepest longings and loftiest hopes of those who yearn for God's presence and seek His protection. They beckon us towards a relationship with the divine, the ultimate refuge and fortress. To conclude, the historical context of Psalm 91 is a prism through which we can better appreciate the depth of its message. It reminds us that across epochs, amidst all trials and tribulations, one thing remains unchanging: God's enduring promise of protection for those who seek sanctuary in Him. This historical backdrop sets the stage for the profound message of Psalm 91. As we continue on this fascinating journey of exploring this remarkable psalm, it is important to keep in mind the historical context that shaped its creation and reception. This understanding will provide insight into its enduring message of divine protection and peace. Now let's delve into the original meaning and significance of Psalm 91. In the pages of the Christian Bible, there lies a collection of religious songs or chants known as the Psalms. Among them, Psalm 91 stands out as a hymn of divine protection, a beacon of hope and faith for believers. Let's take a deeper, more nuanced look into this particular psalm. Psalm 91. A hymn radiates divine protection, commences with an invitation, a promise that is both profound and inspiring. The promise is this: those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This first verse in the psalm serves as an open invitation to intimacy with God. It gently beckons believers to find solace, refuge, and comfort enveloped within the warm gaze of a watchful God. The phrase "secret place" symbolizes a personal and private communion with God. It embodies the notion of a spiritual retreat, sanctuary, where one can retreat from earthly concerns and bask in the divine presence of the Almighty. It is a concept that encourages meditation and spiritual growth. In contrast, the phrase "shadow of the Almighty" signifies His encompassing and omnipresent protection. It is a shield that cloaks believers, guarding them from harm and danger. This, in a way, reinforces the overarching theme of divine protection, an underlying motif seen throughout Psalm 91. Moving on, verses 2 and 3 further emphasize this theme of divine protection. They state, "I will say of Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence." Here the psalmist openly declares his unwavering trust in God, showcasing Him as his fortress, his refuge, his invisible yet impenetrable shield. Snare of the fowler and noisome pestilence symbolize the various forms of dangers and afflictions that life throws at us. They embody fears, challenges, and obstacles that one may encounter in life. Yet the psalmist assures us that God will deliver those who trust in Him from all these perils. Verses 4 and 5 present even more metaphors that convey God's divine protection. "He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day." These verses beautifully illustrate the protective nature of God, likening Him to a bird that shields its young under its wings. They convey a sense of security and trust in the Almighty's protection. God's truth, as per these verses, acts as a shield, a defensive armor that guards against falsehood and deception. The believer is thus encouraged to shed all fear of the terror that comes night or the arrow that flies by day. It is here where the psalmist impresses upon us the steadiness and consistency of God's protective nature. Verses 6 to 8 further the theme of God's protection, providing assurance to the believer. "Thou shalt not be afraid for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked." These verses convey the depth of God's protective power, reinforcing the belief that no matter the number of perils shall not harm the one who trusts in God. The psalm then transitions in verses 9 and 10, moving from addressing the generality of believers to the individual believer. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High habitation, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Here the psalmist affirms that those who make God their refuge and dwelling place will be spared from evil and plague. The final verses, 11 to 16, serve as God's direct assurance of his protection. He promises to command his angels to guard the believer in all their ways, to uphold them so they do not stumble, and to deliver them because they have set their love upon him. These verses act as a divine guarantee, a pledge from God himself to ensure thee of those who love and trust him. All throughout Psalm 91, the psalmist uses vivid imagery and metaphors to express the theme of divine protection. These images, while they speak of physical protection, also carry a deeper spiritual meaning. They remind us that God's protection goes beyond the physical realm and extends into the spiritual realm, offering emotional and spiritual security. So we see how Psalm 91 promises God's protection to those who trust in him. God's protection, a prevalent theme in Psalm 91, is something we all seek. It's a topic that is deeply rooted in our existence, consistently reminding us of the divine sanctuary that is promised when we surrender ourselves to the Most High. The theme of God's protection is intricately woven into our lives, acting as an affirmation of his presence and his promise to protect us in times of trouble. Psalm 91 allows us an intimate look into this theme, opening up a dialogue about our relationship with God's protection. Let's take a moment to immerse ourselves in this psalm, to scrutinize each verse and unearth the profound implications they hold. Psalm 91 stands as a magnificent piece of spiritual literature filled with promises assuring us that regardless of the tribulations we face, there exists a fortress to which we can retreat. The psalm begins with a compelling proclamation: "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." This statement sets a tone, making God's protection a core subject of the psalm. The words "dwells" and "abide" hint at an enduring, intimate relationship with God, suggesting a permanence rather than a transient interaction. They invite us to establish God as our dwelling place, our sanctuary, our safe haven, and when we do so, we abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Shadows, by their very nature, are protective. They provide relief from the harsh glare of the sun, a sanctuary from severe elements. This is precisely the role of God's shadow, a safe sphere, a refuge from life's adversities and challenges. As we navigate deeper into this psalm, we encounter striking imagery that mirrors the protective nature of God. Verse 4 likens God to a bird, sheltering its young beneath its wings. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. This metaphor paints an evocative picture, symbolizing God's nurturing, protective nature. It beautifully illustrates his unyielding dedication to safeguard those who have placed their trust in him. The psalm further extends its promises, offering protection from lurking dangers in darkness and threats during daylight. It assures us that we need not dread the terror of night, the arrow that flies by day, or the pestilence that lurks in darkness. These verses don't merely refer to physical protection, they also speak to the spiritual fortification God provides, bolstering us against the unseen forces that jeopardize our tranquility. Psalm 91 introduces us to the concept of angelic protection, further emphasizing God's personal care for us. Verse 11 states, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." This promise accentuates God's undying commitment to us, a comforting reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. God's army of angels stands on guard, ready to protect and guide us on our life's journey. These promises would have been deeply comforting to the original audience. Life was harsh during biblical times, and people faced real, tangible dangers daily. This concept of a strong, protective God would have been a source of reassurance. It would have instilled hope during adversity, given strength amidst trials, and provided courage when faced with fear. As we continue to delve deeper into this psalm, it becomes evident that God's protection is an active force that affects the lives of those who trust in him. It's a divine shield, a spiritual fortress, a sanctuary during times of difficulty. This protection is readily available to us here and now. All we need to do is dwell in the secret place of the Most High and abide under his shadow. In the shelter of God we find an impregnable fortress, a theme that reverberates throughout Psalm 91. This psalm serves as a testament to God's unwavering commitment to safeguard those who trust in Him. It's a reminder of His omnipotent power, His unchanging love, and His unfailing protection. And it's an invitation to experience the peace and security that comes from dwelling in His presence. But what does Psalm 91 mean for us today? As we attempt to unravel the complexities of our contemporary world, the unchanging truths embedded in Psalm 91 serve as a lighthouse in the storm, leading us towards the secure haven of God's love and protection. This psalm, steeped in history and wisdom, is far from being an ancient artifact relegated to the annals of the past. Instead, it stands as an enduring testament, its teachings as meaningful and applicable to our present-day existence as they were when they were first inscribed on parchment thousands of years ago. Let's unpack the first verse. "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." In our fast-paced, technology-driven society, this secret place can be perceived as an individual refuge for prayer and introspection, a tranquil oasis where we can commune with the divine. It's a sanctuary where we can retreat from the cacophony of our daily routines and experience the profound serenity that comes from personal connection with God. This abiding under the shadow of the Almighty indicates an embracing relationship characterized by trust and intimate proximity with the Lord. Within the context of our modern lives, this could signify seeking divine guidance in our choices, acknowledging His continual presence in our lives, and placing unwavering trust in His plans, even when the winds of change threaten to uproot our stability. Now, let's delve deeper into the practical implications. How can comprehending and implementing the teachings of Psalm 91 enhance our lives in the contemporary era? Firstly, Psalm 91 urges us to seek solace in God, to find consolation and safety in His divine presence. This can prove particularly empowering in instances of trepidation or anxiety. During times of adversity, be it personal turmoil, global crises, or the daily grind, the reassurance of God's protection can instill a sense of tranquility and reassurance within our hearts. Secondly, Psalm 91 underscores the idea that our safeguard arises from a relationship with the divine, not from our individual might or resources. In an era that often prizes self-sufficiency and autonomy, this psalm imparts invaluable lessons about the significance of reliance on God. It serves as a sobering reminder that we may not hold the reins of control. We can wholeheartedly trust in the one who does. Thirdly, Psalm 91 equips us with a potent weapon for spiritual warfare. The phrasing of the psalm, with allusions to the fowler's snare, the deadly pestilence, and the terror of night, can be interpreted as symbolic representations of the spiritual conflicts we encounter. Equipped with the assurances of Psalm 91, we can stand firm against fear, temptation, and spiritual onslaughts, secure in the knowledge that God is our guardian and Savior. Fourthly, Psalm 91 implores us to make God our dwelling place, our sanctuary. In a volatile world where the only constant is change, this psalm provides comforting reassurances about the unwavering nature of God's love and guardianship. It encourages us to establish our footing, not in the shifting sands of circumstances, but in the solid rock of God's love. Ultimately, the contemporary application of Psalm 91 revolves around comprehending God's protection, not as an invincible barrier warding off difficulties, but as a promise of His continuous presence and guidance regardless of the varied trials that life presents. It's about seeking refuge in Him, placing our trust in His supreme authority, holding our ground in spiritual battles, and claiming Him as our homestead. And so the timeless truths of Psalm 91 continue to provide solace and protection in our modern world. As we conclude our journey into Psalm 91, we are left with a sense of awe. This feeling is not just a mere byproduct of our exploration, but a profound revelation that comes from delving deep into the meaningful verses of this scripture. As we've journeyed together, we've not only ventured through historical facts and cultural context, but also through spiritual insights and timeless truths. Our expedition took us back to a distant era, a time of great turmoil and uncertainty, when Psalm 91 was first penned. We discovered that the historical backdrop of this powerful psalm was fraught with troubles. But it was also a time when faith in God's protective hand shone brightly like a beacon in the darkness. This historical context adds a layer of depth to the psalm, allowing us to appreciate it in a new and powerful way. We've dissected the words and phrases of Psalm 91, examining them under the lens of their original language and cultural context. This process of dissection has allowed us to see the beauty of the psalm in its rawest form. Each word and phrase has a story to tell, a message to impart, a truth to reveal. In our dissection, we've uncovered that the secret place is more than just a metaphorical sanctuary. It represents a deep personal relationship with God. It invites us into a space of intimacy and closeness with the divine. In contrast, abiding under the shadow of the Almighty paints an image of divine protection that comes with such a relationship. It signifies the security that can only be found under God's watchful care. It's a vivid reminder that we're not alone in our struggles. We have a protector who is always near, always vigilant. The theme of God's protection is a recurring motif in Psalm 91. It weaves its way through the verses like a golden thread tying everything together. It's a central pillar that supports the entire structure of the psalm, giving it strength, stability, and significance. The psalmist assures us time and again that God is our refuge, our fortress, our deliverer. In the face of danger, He is the shield that guards us. In times of turmoil, He is the rock that shelters us. When we are weary, He is the eagle that carries us away from danger. Each of these images paints a beautiful picture of God's care, each one a testament to His steadfast love and protection. Psalm 91 also stands as a testament to God's unchanging nature. We've discussed how the psalm is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Its message of hope and security resonates with us in our present-day struggles. It's a timeless reminder that no matter what we face, we can rest assured that God is with us. He is watching over us, keeping us safe under His wings. Psalm 91 is an invitation to dwell in secret place of the Most High, to abide under His shadow. It's a call to trust in God's power, to rely on His protection, to find comfort in His presence. It urges us to seek refuge in Him, promising that those who do will find it. It assures us that those who call out to Him will be heard, that those who cling to Him will be saved. Our exploration of Psalm 91 has revealed profound truths. As we wrap up, let's reflect on these truths. Let's remember that God's protection is not a fleeting, transient thing, but a steadfast, enduring reality. It's a tangible, palpable certainty. It's a present, immediate reality. It's an assurance that stretches beyond physical safety and worldly security, extending into the realms of spiritual peace, eternal salvation, profound contentment. It invites us to seek refuge in His presence, find strength in His power, and experience joy in His love. The psalm serves as a reminder that God's protection is not exclusive but available to all who trust Him. It's not contingent on our worthiness or deeds, but on His grace and love. It doesn't require us to earn it through our efforts, but is freely given out of His mercy. Finally, let us remember that God's protection goes beyond physical safety or worldly security. It encompasses spiritual peace, eternal salvation, profound contentment. It's about finding refuge in His presence, strength in His power, joy in His love. So we conclude our journey. Let us take these truths to heart. Let them inform our understanding of God's protection and our role in it. Let's remember, in the shadow of the Almighty, we find our ultimate protection. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with others who might find it helpful.